I wanted to hear your thoughts
Hmm.
about about since because you work in with the CIA and
Mm-hmm.
in tech. I wanted to hear your opinions
On Snowden.
about Snowden.
Okay.
First off,
Yeah.
hero or criminal, treasonous, spy or good doer for humanity. What's
All,
your thoughts on him?
all of the above.
All the above.
Yes.
Explain.
Sure. So obviously, um, comparing the two cases that came up because they were very similar. Private Manning, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and
Manning.
Edward Snowden.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, the similarity in their cases is they both violated their oath
Mm-hmm.
and they both committed tech technically treason.
Mm-hmm.
I, I I'm not a legal expert,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what they were. I believe what they were charged with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they revealed classified information from the U.S. government to the public in the interest of in what they believed is the moral good.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, some of the information that Snowden revealed, specifically about the Patriot Act and the surveillance system that the NSA uses,
Mm-hmm.
like it was over the limits of what the Patriot Act allowed for the government to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that regard, if the government's if the government's crossing a boundary, who watches the watchers, basically?
Right.
So you need someone to hold them accountable, and that is whistleblowing.
Mm-hmm.
But in some respects, if you whistleblow and you endanger the lives of people who are on those classified information that you revealed, then you are doing more harm to your country than potential good.
But he did not though. He did. It's been proven that anything that he released did not endanger anyone else's life.
Sure, I was specifically I believe that was Private Manning's problem that they revealed.
Yeah, I'm talking about Snowden.
Sure, but
That's it. You're
so
talking about Manning as well. Yes, Manning did do that, and he needs to be.
yes,
Yes.
yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
Manning pled guilty and did the time, and
Mm-hmm.
then was eventually, I believe, commuted by Obama. Well, not a part commuted, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, by Obama.
Mm-hmm.
So they at least understood that what they were doing was wrong, and they had the moral courage to basically say, "I think I'm doing this for the right reasons, but if you think I'm really wrong, I'll take my punishment."
Mm-hmm.
Snowden, on the other hand, has fled the country and is now living in exile in Russia.
Right.
So
Presumably.
if you're an American hero or patriot in your eyes, but your only option is to flee the country, it's not a great look for you.
Well, no. What? I'm gonna. He's gonna rot in jail.
He could have done what Manning did.
Okay, fine. But Manning endangered. Well, presume like supposedly endangered other people's lives.
If he felt that the justice system would have like so you just pointed out the fact that I didn't realize, but it's been proven that anything that Snowden leaked was not detrimental to
Anyone's life.
anyone's life.
No.
So theoretically, he could have done the same thing that Manning did, pled guilty,
That
and
was
that
proven recently. This happened 6 years ago.
yes,
He fled 6 years ago.
yes,
So all these 6 years, he would have been in prison, and all this investigation wouldn't have happened if they just caught him,
uh
and they
huh,
would have put him away,
uh huh,
right? They
sure,
would have just caught him, labeled him a treason,
uh huh.
labeled him for
So
treason, and they just put him away.
I I I don't know because I don't have a top secret clearance. You can say that I do, but I don't. And
I mean,
it's
you don't have
it's
to tell me. It's okay.
no, but it's a lot to go through a top secret clearance, and it's very valuable, in fact.
Hmm.
So jeopardizing it for a spur, I don't know. I mean, it has to be planned, but like,
It wasn't a spur of the moment thing.
no, he definitely
Snowden met with journalists for a long time. He had very strict parameters
yes,
on how and why these information should be released
yes,
to the public.
and he was a contractor, and he
Hmm.
was not a federal employee. He just had top secret clearance
Right.
because he was a contractor for NSA. Uh,
And worked for CIA.
no, he didn't work for the
He
CIA.
worked for CIA and NSA both.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
sure. I'll okay.
Yeah.
Um, not that I do, but I work for a government agency too,
Did
and
you know
I'm
him?
no,
Okay.
um, no,
Okay.
no. DC is a big place, but regardless, like, I
But
I
the office is small.
I took an oath and I signed paperwork, and I truly believe in the mission, so I would not jeopardize personal information or give up information, um, even if I thought it was the moral right thing to do.
Don't you, but Snowden thinks of it of a different way. He feels that he's a patriot, and his patriotism, his loyalty, he does not feel is to a government
Uh huh.
or to nation specifically. It's the nation's people. He's serving the people. That's the whole point of the government, to serve
Sure.
the people.
Uh huh.
And then he felt that the government was overstepping its boundaries
Uh huh.
and going against the Constitution.
Yeah,
It
but
was unconstitutional, and
yes.
the people needed to know what was happening.
Hence why I agree with you at the beginning when you threw out all those labels.
Hmm.
He's all of the above.
So what do you think? So he's all of the above, but what do you think should be done about him?
Um, wouldn't know. He is our Julian Assange. So,
Okay, so what do you think should happen to Julian Assange? Do you think he should be extradited to the United States? And
well, Julian Assange isn't a U.S. citizen, is he?
no, but the U.S. is trying to extradite him
Right.
from the U.K.
For crime.
Yeah,
For crimes,
for
yes.
some stupid shit that
Sure,
was
but
slapped on him.
that's different. Extradition is different from like, Assange is not is not an American basically.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what the right answer is.
Hmm.
My opinion is like Manning did the time and got commuted for it.
Hmm.
So therefore, that should have been the outcome. If he uh, if Snowden's not willing to put his personal safety, well, I mean, it's just, is it naivety then? Is this just he fled to
Who's
Russia?
yours?
No,
I mean, like,
mine in his story, like
you
just
just
like
said that if he's not willing to put his personal safety,
yeah.
of course not. Why would they risk, you know?
So he's not comfortable being in prison.
I mean, I don't know what he's coming up with. I know that
So
he's gonna be wrongfully charged. I think I personally think what he did. I understand the breaking the oath.
uh-huh,
That was not okay.
uh-huh.
But it's important why he broke the oath,
Yeah, but then
and
you
it
should
was for the greater good. I think the people needed to know that the government was doing this, and the government was blatantly lying to the American people.
yeah, and the
And
oversight was necessary, yes.
yeah, it
So
had to be leaked.
so the result was we are okay with the result, but the method behind it was kind of questionable.
The method was very well, like he was very responsible about which journalist he went to. He told
He
the
was
jour-
responsible, but the
Yes.
journalists themselves could not be. They could or could not be responsible. I mean, once you
No, but
Pandora's box there.
the thing is that he told him, like, listen, you need to look into this.
Hmm.
Do not release this for clickbait.
Okay.
Release this on, like, he went to journalists who were honorable.
Okay.
And they only put this out because because if you feel the public needs to know this, I feel the public needs to know this.
Okay.
Put this out only if you also feel that way, and if you don't, I want you to confirm that this is actually happening. I want follow up with NSA, follow up with CIA, find out what they're doing, and if you feel that this will endanger anyone's life, do not publish it.
Hmm.
And I think he did the right things every step of the way.
Okay.
And of course he knew that he was going to be labeled as treason. And again, the only reason this became a bigger deal because he got away. If he was caught, they would have put him in a hole, and the story would have ended right there.
Would it have though?
What would it not?
Well, he
He's-
got
he-
the information out.
Right, and now because of that, he committed treason. The information's out. We're putting him away for life, whatever, done.
Well, so okay. This is where my confusion is.
Mhm.
Because Manning was pled guilty
Hmm.
and was commuted. Treason or Snowden evaded capture by fleeing
Mhm.
to one of our quote unquote enemies, Russia, who is
Well, no,
harboring-
that's not true. That is not true.
What is true about it then?
That isn't true. He didn't flee to Russia. He didn't give up anything to Russia. He actually was trying to get to South America,
Okay.
and
Is he currently in Russia now?
yes,
Okay.
but he's there because he got stuck there. They canceled his
So-
passports while he was
so-
going from Russia to. He didn't flee to Russia. He was trying to get to South America.
by way of Russia?
Yes.
Is that naivety on my part then?
No, that's just the way that he was going. He didn't. he was trying to fly out of.
Who goes to Russia to go to South America? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a
No,
crazy detour of a layover.
no, I believe he was at the time in Europe, and he was going to was the
Is it
Boliv-
coincidental?
I think no, he was obviously he was trying to throw them off. He was. I don't know the. I will look into this, but I know that he was going to the Bolivian president or Bolivian or Belgian president's plane was forcefully made to land in France because they thought that Snowden was in that plane.
Okay.
But by that time he has already left that country
So
and went the other
you
way.
are okay with him evading just as a principal thing in terms of he gets to evade the government.
When this first happened, I was like, he's a traitor. He needs to be caught. He needs to be brought to trial because if we let this happen once, then everyone's gonna start to we're gonna let all these other people who betray the country go. However, as I've learned more about the issue and I learned more about what information was released and the fact that this brought no harm to anyone else.
That we know of.
No, the government came out and said like no one was like
Okay.
that was the initial thing like that whole thing was that we are they're releasing information it's gonna affect agents in the field like no it didn't. Okay, in 2019.
Well, that's the default U.S. government response to national security.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but like that's the thing.
That they don't give an inch on
But-
anything because they don't want to
But
ever trigger.
but again, they were saying this just to capture him.
Yeah.
But when they investigated, like no, this didn't harm endanger anyone's life.
So
Plus, what he did, the courts, the appellate court just ruled that this was illegal.
Yeah.
Not what he did was like that. What the government did
was doing, yeah.
was unconstitutional.
Yeah.
So what he released was the
Well,
right thing to do.
yeah, it was illegal wiretapping without a warrant, correct?
Yes.
He was leaking information about that.
Plus, they were watching everything that we do,
Yeah.
Right.
all
So
our calls, everything.
so in retrospect, basically, you got one person who believed in the justice system and someone who clearly didn't, and
Well, Chelsea Manning got caught too. I mean, I don't think Chelsea Manning gave herself up.
Okay, but she pled guilty.
Right. Snowden also agrees that he did this. No, he's not saying that he didn't do this. But if you're tried under the Espionage Act or the, you are. It doesn't matter. Remember yesterday we were talking and you said, "Yes, don't ask why, ask how." You know this, and
Something that I would say, yes.
it doesn't matter why or how. You're not allowed to discuss why the person did something
Okay.
in court.
Yeah.
The fact that they did it is a shut and done case.
Uh-huh.
This case would not even be discussed properly if he wasn't in exile for this long. If it was
You can't prove a negative there. You can't prove you don't know how it would have played out because he did surrender himself and he didn't get caught.
right,
You're operating the whole assumption thing is basically if he actually did get caught, none of this would have came out. But by your own admission, didn't he say that he set up the reporters that he would have tipped them off on the information and it would have been sent.
there's series of meetings that he had with the journalists from 3 different news outlets.
Okay.
He sat down with them,
Yes.
gave them the document,
Yes.
and it made sure that this was handled responsibly.
Before he got caught.
What do you mean before he got caught?
Before he left the country.
Before he left the country, yes.
So even if he got caught, the information still would have been released.
Yes.
right. So this is almost like one of those movies where I offended the mafia and like I need to run for my life kind of a scenario because my life was on.
Yeah, they're
the
gonna
line.
get
But the mission's done though.
But the mission is done.
Yeah. Excuse me.
So he's only fleeing for his own personal safety.
Of course.
Right. So that we can't blame him.
We can't blame the guy for fleeing for his personal safety. What do you mean?
But then later, and
Wait,
what Nias
explain
is trying
yourself.
to specify is that he did a good
Mhm.
by exposing something that's criminally done by the government. But then later he's not wrong for trying to flee the country
Yeah.
for just
Really?
crossing those guidelines of not exposing the truth because it's his job title to not do so. That's why he has the job within the company, right? So see,
Really interesting.
I mean, you disagree, and I just want to understand.
So I think he could have fought it in public opinion, like a court of public opinion. he would have been exonerated because, like he convinced many Americans that he did a good thing.
Well,
So
I think he did a good thing. You don't think he did a good thing? You said earlier he think that he did the right thing.
I think he did the right thing.
Okay, but you're blaming him, or you're not blaming him. Rather, you are
Take the
questioning.
consequences. If you commit a crime,
Mm-hmm.
take the consequences.
Right.
You knowingly did this, so own up to it.
Well, it really.
Put yourself at the mercy of the justice
I
system.
but
Right.
don't you? But we just spent an hour discussing the justice system isn't fair.
Yes.
Yeah, so if he knows that he would not have kind of fair trial, why would he stand for the
have not?
trial? Under the Espionage Act, he would not be able to explain why he did the.
What was Manning charged with then?
I don't remember. I do not remember that.
Is it not the Espionage
Can you
Act
look it
either? I read this in the news because it was very, very, very similar. And I may be drawing an incorrect comparison between the two cases, but basically the gist of it is, from what I understood, Private Manning was caught, also did the same thing about releasing top secret information. I believe that case was about possibly leaking sensitive information. They got caught. They pled guilty. They're serving time in prison, and then President Obama commuted the sentence. Not a pardon, but commuted, so that basically she just got released. My problem with Snowden is if Manning can do the same thing and suck it up, then you're fleeing, and now you're in this kind of status quo, like limbo thing, because you won't surrender yourself and go back to your country. If you are a true American patriot, go in with your head up high and just own up to the consequences. Are you really going to live your entire life in exile now? Like, you're just going to... You already wrote a book about it.
Well,
You're trying to profit off of it.
Well, I mean,
There's a movie about you.
That's his way of earning. That's his livelihood.
Okay.
I do agree with you that that's questionable. But like, his girlfriend has moved out there. He has he's
So he
raising
gets to
family.
have a girlfriend. That's great.
Yeah, but then later,
I don't think that's a bad thing.
In this particular cases, yeah, America is great, but like if I was to choose, and I had to run, and I was went to Japan, yeah, I'll be glad to just stay there.
Yeah, but that's not the question here. The question is that what Wilson is saying is that should
Manning served 7 years, by the way,
okay
out of a 35-year imprisonment.
okay
So, are you really thinking that like Snowden would have gotten worse or something?
he didn't. I'm guessing that he didn't want to serve even 7 years in prison.
Yeah, he felt like he did his duty, and he should not be charged for it, nor should he be in handcuffs.
So do you agree that Manning and Snowden are very similar cases?
I don't think Manning should have served. Well, did he? Was it proven that Manning actually endangered people's lives?
I mean, this is Wikipedia.
Wikipedia is
Yeah,
not going to tell that, and that's also like
Yeah, I think it's important to we know that Snowden did not, and it was important that people had to know.
Mhm.
I think if he's gonna get a fair trial and he's gonna be put in prison for a year or two,
That's even one day too long.
And how do you know? How do you even someone's not gonna whack him, like while he's in prison? Like that's you have to think about that.
Okay, so Manning didn't know, and he rolled the dice. Or sorry. She.
Yeah.
so. I'm not sure how credible this is.
How dare you dead gender her? Well, good. Let's see. Okay, scroll down. Said to be damaging national security, but a newly public report claims otherwise, despite assessment about danger to civilians in Afghanistan and Iraq. Okay.
So not direct U.S. military, but people who work with the U.S. military, like
Yeah,
basically
well,
collaborators.
yeah, but that's still not good.
No, it's not.
That's not good at all. Like,
No.
we need to value. We need to have value the safety of our assets around
Yes.
the world, and if we don't, then they would not.
So
Work with
what
us.
is your stance on this compared to Manning, like on Manning versus Snowden? Then, like,
Well, if Manning did endanger the safety
but
of our
that
assets.
report said it was kind of murky in terms of whether they did or
I
not.
mean, well, it's saying that it did not for American soldiers, but our other assets.
Yeah,
But that's not good. I'm not okay with that.
okay,
Yeah, but and I think then she should have served time.
she did.
Yeah, that's what then I do think that she should have served time.
Do you agree with President Obama's commutement of the sentence? 7 years out of 35.
What did she exactly leak?
750,000 documents.
But proving what?
Just you'd have to revisit the
Yeah, I have to
article. This is 10 years
what
ago
did it
now.
exactly show?
So again, my point here is if I mean you can argue whether or not Manning could have fled or not or just got caught. But like if Snowden got caught, then none of this would have this philosophical exercise would have been moot. He would have had the same situation as Manning.
Yeah, so
He would have been charged.
but
He
that's
would
two
have been
different
probably
things.
sentenced, and then you'd have to wonder if Obama would have commuted him or not.
Two different things. 750,000 documents on the. What did it?
Pages. 750,000 pages. Sorry.
Pages. Sorry, pages. Okay, but what was it about?
Right here.
With high confidence that disclosure of record will have no direct. But what was it about? What was the 750,000? Scroll down. Thank you. Scroll down. The document also made public civilian casualty. So casualty numbers, which the federal agency determined.
Civilian casualties, then. So
Ye-
something that we're covering up.
Yeah. So yes, then
Wouldn't that be a good thing?
absolutely can meet the sentence.
Okay.
Well, let me just finish reading this. Documents agencies could be used for opposition forces, media to lessen support for U.S. missions. They also put U.S. troops unharmed as a result,
Well,
according to some experts.
I mean, the story is basically we covered up civilian casualties
Yeah.
during operations. So.
Yes. I think she should have been acquitted.
Okay.
That's just my personal opinion.
Of course.
I don't know if it's right or wrong,
Sure.
but I do believe that she did a service. We need to be able to
Honor the whistleblowers,
not honor the whistleblowers,
but
but
at least like allow for whistleblowing.
exactly, because
It
The-
takes
the-
a very
the-
brave person to fight against the whole system.
and that's exactly why we need to make uphold them differently, because the military and the government is supposed to serve the citizens of this country.
Yes.
When they're out of they are acting without any kind of repercussions or oversight.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And
It's
if
dangerous.
these people are helping exposing that, then they are patriots.
They are.
They are absolute patriots.
Yeah.
And yes,
Patriotism can take many forms.
exactly. And in that in that line of thinking, I do think Chelsea Manning should have been acquitted, and I do think that there's nothing wrong with not wanting to serve time, knowing if what you did was the right thing to do.
Okay.
So basically, you're on his case. Like,
What do you mean? No,
because Wilson was like, just you shouldn't have ran away for Edward Snowden. Because
No, I do think he should have run away. I think that he did his job, and then I don't think it was wrong of him to not want to serve time.
yeah, but then later you just mentioned that Manning stood trial, which is the right thing to do. So,
No, I said that I said that he was acquitted by she was acquitted by
Not acquitted.
yes, she was
not-
acquitted.
Not acquitted.
acquitted means that you probably wouldn't have done the time.
Not acquitted. Commuted. Commuted means reduce the sentence.
I know what
Acquitted
you mean.
acquitted means the charges against you were dropped.
Right.
She's still guilty of the crimes. She's not denying that, and she's never going to be like clear of those.
Right.
I hate to be pedantic, but it does make
That's absolutely you're correct on the definitions of the words.
because Barack Obama could have pardoned Chelsea Manning,
I mean,
and that would have cleared her crimes. But
Right.
instead, he just released her early,
Mhm.
which is a significant philosophical debate because, in effect, he's saying, okay, you did the country a service,
Right.
but you still did something wrong. So I'm not going to let you I'm not going to clean your slate. But a pardon, a presidential pardon it will remove all criminal, all criminal history. You're done. You're clean slate. So
like how Trump just willy-nilly just
did it for his friends. Yes.
Mhm.
That's the power of a presidential pardon. How Barack Obama did not, although he could have well within his right to, chose to execute it. He did not for Chelsea Manning. So look, I think Snowden personally benefited a little bit.
Of course.
So
afterwards.
yeah,
But he also did a very brave thing, taking a
sure.
great risk upon his life on his livelihood. He could have simply
So he could have just gotten caught too. Do you have a moral duty to as a whistleblower to evade custody? Is that a thing?
No, I don't think that's a moral duty, but they don't have a moral duty to get caught either. If you know
No,
that you're
but
gonna end up in jail.
that's very
Well,
that's
that's a particular controversial thing. Like, you know,
So-
if you see like many movies where the government knows one way to somehow assassinate or screw you over, and you don't believe in the system whatsoever, you know, in your thoughts, yeah, maybe I have better chances fleeing the country than to trust the justice system.
Yeah,
it's
we just discussed the justice system being corrupt.
it's a court of public opinion. So
I don't.
So I view Chelsea Manning more favorably than Edward Snowden only because Chelsea Manning served time for her crimes, which she freely admitted to. Snowden can claim whatever he wants, but he is still to this date a fugitive at large from the United States government.
Right.
Yes.
And until he comes home to face his time, like
Yeah,
do
his
face his sentence, then I don't I can appreciate what he's done for this country, but he's not on the same moral level as Chelsea Manning.
I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm not sure if Chelsea Manning got caught or she
Surrendered herself.
she surrendered herself.
What if she surrendered herself? Would it have made a difference than getting caught?
Well, you're talking about place her in a higher moral.
She did 7 years in prison, in military prison.
Exactly, but I'm saying, did she get caught and did 7 years, or did she That's it's two different issues.
Is it?
Yeah, if she got caught instead of maybe she wanted to run away and she couldn't and she got caught.
But
I don't know this again. That's what I'm asking you. It's two different scenarios. It's like I don't know if she.
I'm not prosecuting you on your intent to flee or not. I'm prosecuting you because you got caught. If I catch you as a murderer, I'm not catching you on your
But a murderer didn't do service to the country.
No, I'm using the wrong analogy for this. So
I mean, in all respect, basically, if you did something wrong, you should face the court and see what the sentence is.
and you would have you convince people in a court of public opinion to be on your side.
Like
It's almost like all the people who had those marijuana charges and had been in prison for 20 years, and now that the public opinion about marijuana has changed and is being legalized in many states, they are being released. They just fucking served 20 years on some bullshit.
right.
So you wanted Snowden to give himself up and serve time in prison till the public figures out if this is right or wrong, and then change over the next course of 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, who knows how long. Or maybe the Justice Department at that time just don't live and listen to him and just put him away for who knows how long.
But basically,
So,
I am okay with him coming back now once the justice system said okay, you did this, but because you did break your oath, there has to this you have to go to prison, but let's figure this out. Stand trial and it'll be a fair trial. That's different doing it now than 7 years ago when he would have been just put away. And
Was it 2013 when he did it?
2014, I think.
Okay.
But look, 2019 was the time when they finally said that, hey, what Snowden released was unconstitutional.
Yeah, it takes time.
So you want him to just be in prison for those 6 years?
Well,
He's effectively imprisoned by living abroad.
No, he has his wife or girlfriend. He has a kid. He is no.
So he's even better off than being in prison.
Correct.
It's not a great look because you're basically saying that he's escaping, he's getting away with it.
I mean, it's all about
he
trust.
should serve the time if that's gonna be fair. You're telling me let's get arrested, wait here, let the country figure it out, and I'll just rot in jail? Fuck that.
Yeah, but
Fuck that if he's done the right thing, if he's done a service to the country. And now
Are you familiar with the Mauritanian? The movie that's coming out.
It actually is
I-
out.
It is actually out.
I
So
have,
do you believe in
I
that?
haven't seen the movie.
So, it's about Guantanamo Bay
Mhm.
and a particular prisoner that's
Mhm.
being held by the U.S.
Mhm.
who was definitely mistreated legally,
Mhm.
but he had his day in court,
Mhm.
and he had no choice. He did do a lot of time
Mhm.
in Guantanamo for something he could not. It's not like he had a choice. He could have. It's not like he could have gotten out of the custody of the U.S. government.
Mhm.
But he won his legal case, and he got out of prison.
Mhm.
But he had to do that much time.
Okay,
So
it's different. You understand that? You understand that's different. Do you get that's different? That's like you're talking about. He's a terrorist, I imagine.
not even a terrorist.
What did he do? What was his crime?
Exactly. He was being held in Guantanamo without charges. We just held him.
But you just told me that he was there for reasons. He was there for things that he has done.
He was a suspected terrorist.
So did he commit any crimes?
No.
No.
Okay,
That's
so you're proving my point exactly. We have a flawed justice system, and you want Snowden to have been like, "I did this, so while you guys figure it out, I guess I'll just rot in jail for the next 7 years while you figure it out."
His
Fuck that.
privilege is to escape it, but other people who went through the legal system.
They got caught. I don't know if they went. I didn't look this up. Can you look up if Chelsea Manning just surrendered herself or did she get caught?
Why does this
things.
distinction matter? Why does this distinction
The
matter?
distinction matter-
You're surrendering yourself, or you're getting. It's not the surrendering yourself or evading. You at your okay. Do you get bonus points for trying to flee the police?
No. Do you get bonus? You do get bonus points for surrendering. If she had
Do
said,
many people surrender to the police?
No, she was
No.
she was arrested.
so there you go. So she would have. That's two different things. So she may have wanted
She
to.
pled guilty.
Okay, because she had charges against her, and she did those things.
So
she
she
spent
pled
7.
guilty.
Yeah, but
Has Snowden pled guilty?
why would he plead guilty? To what? What charges? Breaking the oath is the only charge that he should be
Which
pleading
is
guilty
which,
for.
which is still
So it's still a crime.
still-
That's
crime.
fine, but he would have spent 7 years in jail
You'd never
while they
know
figured that out.
if it's
Yes.
7 years. What
In 2019, they just said that
You're
when
arguing a moral point, but I'm literally just saying that what does it matter? I'd
up 7 years of someone's life. That's what matters.
Yeah, but then later in cases that like, hey, let's just say the government fudged up on the case scenario that they did wrong and they sentenced the wrong person. There's no compensation from the government that I have seen that gives back to somebody who they wrongfully arrested or wrongfully sentenced.
You're all proving my point. Like, so he's just gonna give up 7 years of his life, and
to
while
prove
the
a point.
What?
To prove a point.
He proved his point fine by and not be in jail.
No, not if the majority of Americans still think that he's not
Yeah, but
doing
then
the
later,
right thing.
The majority of the America does not think that. The public opinion has shifted greatly.
that's
Majority
the,
What's
of
the
America-
current poll? Show me
exactly.
a current poll then.
I don't
Let's-
know.
Don't claim a majority of Americans.
Public opinion about Snowden has
But then later,
changed greatly
who-
over the last
who-
6 years,
who-
especially since the case was made that what the U.S. government was doing, it was absolutely
Wrong, but-
illegal. And then after his book came out and people actually found out more about exactly what happened, then the documentary came out exactly with the with actual footage of him meeting with a journalist. People are like, okay, so this is what happened. Because for fucking 5 years, we are told bullshit by the U.S. government telling us that he did this, this, and this. He endangered people's lives. So, of course, the public opinion was against him. Once he found out that the government was lying, once he found out exactly what happened,
Snowden's a hero of yours?
it doesn't matter if it's a hero of mine.
You agree with his decisions, though?
I agree that he took a brave step to let the U.S. citizens know that they were being spied on.
And you agree that he should stay out of the country for the foreseeable future?
I
think
that he needs to, until he's gonna get a fair trial about his first crimes.
What fair?
there's
How do you get him a fair trial?
look.
At this time, 2019 is the time.
So it's been 2 years since then.
So let's put it this
Sort of-
way. I think it's all based on someone's moral compass to weigh out the pros and cons on how rest of their lives how they want to spend it. Obviously, if it was put into a state, it's not the worst case scenario. A lot of people move to a different state because they don't like the situation they're in. So, moving to a different country, it's not far-fetched for a human being to do. So to say that I moved to Russia is like...
He didn't move to Russia again.
Well, no. Even if I did, it's not like, it's really horrible. The conditions are not...
It's not prison.
It's not prison.
Okay.
I'm not...
That's why he's there, because he didn't want to be in prison.
But we're saying, like, in his case, well, this is my thought, he feels like he shouldn't be put in handcuffs. That's
He shouldn't be put away for the time that they're going to put him away for.
Right. But then later, since he's already a fugitive and he's living the life and he's enjoying the life that he's in right now, why go through the process to clear his name when he already wrote his book and he already told whatever he needs to
That's
tell?
a fair point, too. From a personal perspective, I understand why he did what he did. I just don't agree with it.
Okay,
and
that's fine.
And the longer he's
so
delaying,
is he the villain in your life? Like when you ask me something like, is he your hero? No, he's not my fucking hero. But I do think that what he did was the right thing to do.
Sure,
it's like he was a security guard watching something happen outside his fucking building's door, and he did something. He didn't just close the fucking door.
Sure, but now look, the longer he's delaying coming back to the U.S. And you can argue the 2019 point all you want, but
did you hear me already?
Yes, but
am I right? So you don't have to argue anymore.
No,
So,
you're not right about this because
yes,
here's the point: do you agree that he did something criminal?
Yes.
So if he comes back, should he be charged?
You're missing the point of him not waiting 7 years for the government to figure shit out.
No. I'm not even talking about this evade and capture at this point. I'm talking if he surrendered himself tomorrow, would you think that's correct? Or should he stay?
Yeah, and I agree with you from the beginning. Our debate was about you say that he ran away.
Yeah, he did run away.
Yes, your argument this whole time was about him running away,
yes,
and Chelsea Manning didn't, and you were incorrect. Chelsea Manning was arrested, was caught. She didn't just surrender herself. And she did her time. He got away. I did say that yes, if he were to right now, if he gets a fair trial, he should come back. He should face his crimes. At that time, he was right for running away.
Look,
you've been debating me this. Give me one second, Mikey. This whole time you've been debating me on that he should not have ran away.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that I agree with him running away.
Sure.
And at this time, when the truth has come out, yeah,
he was vindicated. But now he doesn't get credit for 7 years evading capture. So if he gets sentenced to 7 years for doing the crime that he...
That's fine.
Yeah, but then
that's fine.
That's not... That's
so now he's living 14 years out of his... Now, do you see my point now where he could have just gotten all of it over with?
I'm sure he does not see it that way. I'm sure that at that time...
At this point, there is no reason for him to come ever back and surrender and face the charges. Do you agree with me on that? It makes no sense from a game theory perspective. He has nothing to gain from this.
Well, only if he wants to be back in America should he come face charges. Otherwise, he's fine there. I can't. Why would he? Absolutely. Why would he give up his personal freedom? Unless if it's a moral issue. Unless it's like a moral thing, like, you know what? The public opinion has changed. The government has been proven wrong. And yes, if I have done something wrong and if I broke laws, I'll come face the charges. Look, unless the morality issue for him personally, he has no reason to come back. You're right.
Depending on the case scenario, anything can twist and turn with the corrupt politics or the people behind the scenes to ruin your life. So if, let's just say, there's a big portion, not the majority, but there's a big portion of America that, whoever agreed that Obama was not a citizen or whatnot, they don't know their particular intentions. If they were held into trial with the decision of the president and they feel like they're going to get fucked over, then maybe that was what Snowden did. We have a president with the last name Obama, and I feel like I'm gonna get crucified if I was to held. Yeah.
Well, but that's a lot of assumptions, though, isn't it?
But let's put it for the micro perspective of a fantasy level. You know, let's put this because this is absolutely almost a movie. The guy did something.
He is a movie.
He is a movie. So but you know how movies take twists and just true stories around to make it interesting. But if in case this guy was a hardcore bigot, and he was,
Alright, it's just
I'm just saying, just change his character a little bit. We're not putting him on the same exact character. Maybe they have the same names, but in the case scenario of being justified by somebody who you despise because of their background, and you don't think you're going to have a fair ruling. They would
That
have.
happens. Yeah.
He took the precautionary steps to be like, hey, I'm going to live somewhere else, but I feel like the American people, because I feel like, what happens to those who feel like, oh, Obama is not really my president, as how some people say like Trump was not my president to begin with. They have a strong feeling of saying like he is no leader of mine. And then later, once you come to that particular decision and opinion, it's like, I don't trust my government, and I know all these conspiracy stuff. I've seen all these movies, and who knows, they're going to get Jason Bourne and fucking assassinate me on the sidelines. Who knows?
right.
Right. So for him to flee the country is his decision, but I feel like he didn't do anything wrong, but then
Yeah.
later he made the gamble that he should not stick around for the trial.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because he would have been just stuck in prison. Well, and I obviously you can't.
But then later
you can't say what talk about what didn't happen. But if he was caught
Or extradited by Russia.
or extradited by Russia, but it would have been like one of those marijuana things. Like, until the public opinion changes, he would have been stuck in prison. And who knows? Who knows if they would have ever let him out? Or
I just want to circle
who
back
knows
to this.
who knows that if by the time Trump or somebody else would have commuted his sentence, like, there was no guarantee of that.
No.
So fuck that. Why would he he did a service to the
but
the U.S. citizens.
That's the point.
He still did something wrong, even though it was like on.
Okay,
the
I'm not
movie end.
saying I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that he did something wrong. But listen, you have to weigh the pros and cons of a situation.
Yes.
I think that he did more good than bad. Especially, again, I'm telling you, my opinion changed about this. Okay, 6 years ago, I was like, yeah, catch that dude and bring him back. If he just endangered our agents' lives around the world, you gotta get that guy back here. He committed treason. Once you find out everything that has happened, especially that what he did only had positive outcomes, no negative outcome except the government being
But it took years for you to realize that, though, right?
of course.
Yeah, so
course.
he has
You
time
had
to
you
write
had
the
the
book.
wrong opinion.
I had the wrong information. The wrong information was given to us.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
And in this whole time, he should have like been a pious guy and not not run away and stayed.
I
stayed in
can't
prison.
change history. I'm only giving my opinion of what he should have done.
That's
Obviously,
fine.
he did
and
something.
we disagree on that.
And yeah, but you were harping on the point that because Manning didn't try to, she got caught. And
Yeah, she got caught. We don't know if she had to escape or not.
Well, what
That
is?
be two different things.
I'm not.
But
She was charged and she pled guilty. Do you not see that's my point? I don't
did-
care about the evading part.
I understand that she pled guilty.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Snowden never pled guilty. Snowden never had his day in court. Snowden to this
Right.
day has never had his day in court, and now he's probably never going to for the rest of his life because it makes no sense for him to do so. He missed his window. I have the opinion that he should have just from day one just surrendered himself, came back, and just rolled the dice with the courts. You
Yeah.
say that it's not good for him. We agree to disagree. I agree. I support your opinion on that. It's a bad thing for him. It's a lot to ask somebody to surrender yourself to prison.
Yeah, but that's exactly what you're saying earlier. That
now
his personal safety should. He was worried about his personal safety. Of course, he was worried about his personal safety.
No, I'm just saying. No, I don't care about his personal safety.
You don't care about his personal safety.
He cares
I'm
about
sure
his
he
person-
cares about his personal
yes,
safety.
Yes. But now at this point, he's going to be in exile forever because there's no point for him to ever come back. Because even if he comes back and he gets charged with 7 years, he doesn't get credit for time served by being in exile.
Right.
So he's automatically going to serve 7 years on
Right.
top of however long he's going to live in exile.
Well,
Right.
let's put it in this case. I'm not trying to weigh the intelligence of one versus the other, but it's clear that
Whistleblowing is a good thing.
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But you just have to be cautious and,
Yes.
and very mindful of the next few steps.
So there are differences in the cases, right? So I will, based on what we read, refresh myself on Manning. Manning just directly uploaded it to WikiLeaks. I think he just she
Or
just
send
dumped
to
it.
WikiLeaks?
Yeah, she just dumped it. She was just like, I got all the files I could, and then you're saying Snowden was more deliberate, picked journalists.
Take
He
journalists, pick
definitely
agencies.
wanted to release it to the media, but under certain conditions, and
Yes.
he wanted to control it.
Very strict conditions, yeah.
Wikipedia, WikiLeaks is a little bit more dangerous because definitely not modulated or controlled. Very,
Right.
just also very hard to, at least journalists have that need to corroborate. Nobody's going to corroborate something if you upload it to WikiLeaks, right?
Right.
So, I mean,
Just
people
information.
will, but nobody has that obligation.
But not
to-
before releasing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are definitely it's not a one-to-one case thing.
Yeah, it's not.
I
I
find
agree.
it fascinating because it is almost two sides of the same coin in terms of outcomes. In terms of outcomes, because one got away and one got caught. In your words, so you can see what happened to one as semi-gauge to see what could have happened to the other.
Well, I'm also more in support of Chelsea Manning serving time if she indeed if the information that she leaked.
But
was,
the same concept apply. It takes years for that information
No,
to
but-
come out,
right,
and
right,
it
right.
would have been years, just like
But
the same
I
thing with
also think that
Snowden.
she did it more irresponsibly than Snowden. Again, I do think that there was crimes committed. Don't get me wrong on this.
Yeah.
I do think that Chelsea Manning served her time, and Snowden probably should serve his time for committing the crime as well. But I find the validity in his reasoning of him not wanting to serve, be in prison while the country figures this out.
Sure.
I get that.
Mhm.
I don't know if putting Chelsea Manning in prison was the right move, unless what the information that she leaked was damaging to the to people.
But-
And if she did this, I guess she did do this pretty irresponsibly.
I think we should.
And she was in the
wrap-
military, right?
Wrap this up for all the whistleblowers or intentional whistleblowers out there.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
If you have the moral courage to take the punishment, then I support you. By all power to you. But if you want to take care of yourself, then go the Niaz route and definitely take care of yourself. That's valid
Good.
too.
Yeah.
It's not my route. I just think that you need to. No one wants to be in jail. No one wants to be in jail for doing the right thing. And if I listen, I don't have the answers. If I can have the answers, I would be a lawmaker. But I do think as a private citizen, I don't think if your actions is the right thing to do and it has more positive outcome and it did not harm anyone else.
That's
And
hard
you broke a-
that's a very hard thing to prove that you did not harm anyone else.
But it was proven. It was proven by look into it. The government reviewed the
Not Snowden. I just mean the leaking of classified information. It's you're basically saying willy nilly. As long as you can justify that it doesn't hurt anybody else, that it's okay to do.
I'm not saying this willy nilly at all. I'm saying it because I've looked into what Snowden did exactly. It was done very responsibly. If you have a method of foolproofing your system, like I'm releasing this information, only parts of the information because the public doesn't know about it, but to make sure that this is what I'm doing is not irresponsible and not hurting any people.
There is no whistleblowing on a top secret classified information. I mean, is that a agreed upon thing? There is. If you decide to whistleblow it, there is no getting around the fact that it is a crime.
I mean,
right.
It's both.
You could have a better you have a moral reasoning and justification and a noble reason to do it, and it supersedes the crime. And I totally get that. That's what Manning believed, and that's what Snowden believes, and I'm on that side. I support whistleblowers, but the whole point really is that there's a law against releasing information for a reason.
I think that above all else, you have to hear the particular approach. Obviously, if you see something wrong, you want to report it through the justified chains.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are disregarded and you feel like you haven't been given the correct response besides like mind your own goddamn business or something close to that factor, like you then put onto your moral code to whether or not how to approach it. And through this case, which is not both the same cases, it's still leaking, but it's still two different subjects.
Yeah.
There's two ways to approach it. If you don't want to do jail time, get it ready and leave the country first. Niaz's way.
It's not my.
There's also a thing where Snowden was an NSA contractor, and if he really believed in the seriousness of this stuff, he could have did an internal report to the OIG, Office of Inspector General.
No, because
you don't trust the government.
I don't trust the government. James Clapper, I believe, was at Congress. No, it was the congressional hearing.
Yeah.
And he said unequivocally that they are not doing this. They're not like what Snowden released. He was asked directly by a congressman.
Okay.
And James Clapper said like, no, we are not doing this, not intentionally.
What do you mean not doing this?
Like listen.
Oh, denying the charges.
Denying that, not like the monitoring of everyone's call records and all that stuff.
Sure.
And James Clapper said that we are not doing.
So he lied.
He lied.
Okay.
So there was no reason for if the top spy in your country is lying under oath to the government.
Uh-huh.
What chance does he has? Do you think he's gonna go to the HR or the internal review board and they're going to see this?
We did see this in the Trump administration.
This was something that came from the president's office. It wasn't something that one agent or two agents was doing. It was a group of agents that were doing this.
This is a very complicated topic.
This came from the president's office, and this was their orders to perform these these actions. So, spying on your own people, on your own citizens. And so, no, he could not have gone to someone else. He could have gone to the journalists. There's no other person for him to go to, and this would be released to the public.
I mean, this
would be changed, or this would be stopped.
That's how all.
He could have done both, though.
He could have done what?
Have the A plan be released to the journals, have the B plan go through the official channels, see what happens.
You never know.
The official channels who would it go up to? The president and the executive office has ordered these actions.
Right.
And then you can prove that the government's doing something wrong by covering it up because you have your A plan. Are you not seeing this you're attacking from multiple angles here. This is the whole thing with Trump, right? They're doing whistleblowing
We already knew that they're covering it up. The whole thing was the release of this thing was that they're covering this up.
You're not getting my point here. It's more evidence
you
against...
would be the person that says that, hey, I am hey guys, I'm seeing a problem. This is and they would know that you're the guy who's going to make fuss, who's going to cause problems. You're not going to make yourself known to
you again. You're not. Are you concerned about the timing of this or something? Are you not seeing how this could be done simultaneously without? It's not a mutually exclusive thing. Or do you believe that it's a mutually...
I don't think it would have done any good. I don't think he thought it would have done any good. I think you're speaking in a very hypothetical sense. Oh, why not follow through both channels? This guy was in the CIA, was the NSA. He knows that the moment he brought this up, he would have been shut down, and then he would have been watched. He would not be able to escape the country.
Yeah,
that was his plan. He would not.
He does his A plan first.
He would not bring his.
And then, as the last thing he does before he leaves, he does the B plan.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I understand what Niaz is saying too.
I'm not gonna say
he's basically saying like once
why bother? Sure.
No. The moment you jump into the A plan,
yeah,
you're automatically monitored. So the moment
the A plan was a journalist.
Oh, then once you jump into your B plan, you're automatically
being monitored. You're not gonna get out of the country.
You're probably not going to.
Yeah.
Right. So
he wouldn't be able to escape.
No, this is a hypothetical at this point.
Yeah,
this is a hypothetical the whole time.
Yeah,
you created the hypothetical situation.
No, I know, but
in your situation, in your hypothetical, does he stay in the country and get arrested, or does he run away?
Well, his original plan was to always flee the country, right?
So once you highlight yourself that you're asking questions, you're not gonna be able to escape the country. The moment you've done that, they're watching you.
There's
Well-
timing involved.
Yes.
Let's put it into this situation. Like, it's really based on your knowledge of the structure of how everything goes down.
Yeah.
So if you have the inside scoop and you know, and let's just say you are like burn notice, you can leave the country and like fake your way and do everything else. If you have the talent to do that, yes. But then later, if you're, let's just put it to Chelsea Manning. I don't know her, I don't know the situation, but let's just say she just said, "Oh, I got these documents, I uploaded them, and I don't want to leave my house. I just paid my last mortgage, and I am very, very happy and comfortable in my situation right now. Like, I'm close to retirement. I'm just gonna sit here and see what the fuck happens." So, it's through the knowledge of what is to come if the tidal wave does come and how to prepare for it.
Okay, there's two things there. One, I just want to say, just because she pleaded guilty doesn't mean that she willingly did that. That made him the best offer that she had, so, to not face a larger sentence. That made him the best thing. Like, you have to plead guilty to this because you're gonna go to jail. You have to plead guilty to this, or
Yeah, what would you have done if you played not guilty?
Exactly.
You had all the
Exactly. If you even pled not guilty, you would have been in jail probably for a fucking longer time.
That's my point.
yeah, that's the point.
Yeah. So
Because
You can't
because
argue that
that you did something wrong.
because it's easily provable. It's you. You're the one who
Right.
uploaded the documents. You're the one who leaked.
right.
But then later,
That's-
here's the other hypothetical thing: is that you don't know what the sentence is, so why risk it?
Why risk it? Exactly. You never
Yeah.
you wouldn't
Sure.
do that.
Yeah, but then later, the thing is that Wilson still thinks,
I
even-
understand.
whether or not it's great for him to come back to America to just face trial, but then he doesn't know. So if there's no calculated cost on what the pros and cons are,
Yeah, it's game theory.
Right.
yeah.
I understand that. I agree with you. He committed a crime, and I think what our difference in opinion is that you feel that he committed the crime, whether it was good for the country or not. He did this, and he should face the punishment. That's it. I think I agree with you 99.99%.
You don't.
No, I think it's a crime.
Okay.
I think a person should pay for it.
Okay. But he's not.
He's not gonna. He's probably not gonna pay for it.
Okay.
But in his scenario,
As long as we have that on the record.
yeah, I don't know what's. You can't change the past. I can't tell the future.
Sure.
So I don't know what's gonna happen.
But for the past 7 years, he has not paid for this crime. Yes.
He's been on exile. He hasn't paid the crime as we want. You may have want him to pay for it the way that you may want him to pay for it.
Sure.
But I do think that he did a service to this country,
I agree with that too.
and I don't care either way at this point if he serves out 7 years or whatever time they send him, as long as it's reasonable, or if he's
What is reasonable?
I don't know. I'm not a lawmaker. I'm not a judge. Okay, but I mean, like you're laughing, but you were asking these hypothetical things that we are not in a position to
Well,
answer.
I mean, I don't really have strong opinions really on I don't. Snowden and Manning haven't crossed my mind since the cases that have happened, which is 7-ish years ago.
Right.
It's interesting that you bring it back up now because I'm just curious. Like, I don't think it's like pretty much the
Well, I wanted
public.
the opinion of somebody who's working in the agency.
Well, everybody in the agency wouldn't have done what he did.
No, everyone. That's why we have. Not everyone's a whistleblower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're kind of relying on everybody not being a whistleblower.
That's the whole. Of course.
Whoever's
Because if you're not a whistleblower, you're an agent of a foreign government, and that's kind of worse.
yeah, that's
Right.
right. Yeah, and if you're not,
No, I'm not.
if you're not well prepared for such scenario to be crucified by the government, then you should think twice.
Yeah, but wait. So are you supporting? You just said earlier that you support whistleblowing.
Yeah. I
Now
do.
you're telling me that okay, well, most it's a good thing that most people are not being a whistleblower.
Well, so most people who serve in the government are patriots,
Yeah.
and they don't really do this kind of thing, and they don't consider it.
So you'd rather see something unconstitutional and something wrong, let it happen. Sorry, let it happen, and just not say anything.
No, I would have to have direct proof of something being unconstitutional.
He did have direct proof of
Well,
something being
he
unconstitutional.
did. So was he the only one who had it, and other people just didn't come forward? Does he talk about that?
Of course, this was being done by many people. This was done. This was done by the entire NSA.
Not
So
the entire.
okay, not the entire, but like it wasn't like again, it wasn't one or two people doing it. This was a thing that that was widely known.
So things are compartmentalized.
Yeah, of course, that's the way maintain.
Operational
Yeah,
security.
exactly.
Yeah. So, like, so for example, if somebody works the Asian area, they're not briefed on what happens in like the South American arena. Like,
Of course.
it's different. And if something
Well-
happens in domestic, like the NSA.
Well, the entire. I mean,
If
entire is the
you
wrong.
keep saying the entire NSA.
Entire is the wrong word. He is not the only person that knew it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So he's the only one who had the courage to come forward and say it.
Sure.
Is he not also a patriot?
No, his patriotism is not in question.
Okay. So, but you just told me earlier that, well, most people who work for the government, they're patriots and they wouldn't do this. So, but he is a patriot and he did do this.
Yeah, but what he's saying that he shouldn't have fled.
No, that's not. We
So-
squashed that already.
So, let me clarify. If most people, like I said, are
Mm-hmm.
patriots, then if they do come across this situation,
Mm-hmm.
they will they. I'm not gonna speak for everybody because I don't know if they will probably come forward, but there's a chance for them to come forward
Mm-hmm. Right.
because their patriotism would supersede their individual liberties in terms of just they understand the consequences of their actions because of these cases, and they'll still do the right thing and surrender themselves or whatever in spite, and they'll still do the right thing even though it'll cost them basically by these examples. But I mean, you're asking the majority of the federal government workforce to basically see if they ever see something bad happening to speak up. And like there's plenty of examples of that happening on the border with the custom patrol stuff.
Right.
And like because it's not as sexy, it's not getting picked up. So
Sure. I mean, like it's also
whistleblowing is happening about the
Sure,
migrants and the
of course.
detention centers and the facilities and all that. So there are people speaking up about how, hey, this is kind of bad. But it is not to the level of like leaking government secrets to.
But listen, I'm talking about the fact that you 5 minutes ago said that people should be whistleblowing, and then you said that most people wouldn't do this because they're patriots. And
Sorry,
so
can I
that's two
retract
that's
that
two
statement?
different things, right?
Mm,
That's of course. I mean, okay, go ahead. You say you want to retract that statement.
most people are patriots. I believe that they will do the right thing and come forward if they
Okay.
have something to report.
Gotcha. Okay,
But I believe also that most people will not be in a situation to do that.
Well, let's put it this way. Like, I didn't read the article, but I saw like particular clips of how they were hosing down and treating the immigrants
Yep.
like shit.
Mhm.
So, for those who find joy out of that, it's very questionable about their mental state.
Mhm.
And if they're not reporting that, it's just like, America, when it crosses the line, we want to treat everybody like our neighbors.
Mhm.
And that's the whole entire justified thing. But if you're treating somebody like animals and you think you're going to get away with it, just want to think twice. Because you're doing clearly an act of possibly a camera somewhere.
Well, this comes back to the whole issue of mental health, and police officers also having mental health issues.
Mhm.
Us, I mean, I think the us, the police officers taking it upon themselves to talk, if they see a fellow officer doing a crime or committing a crime.
That's whistleblowing.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It all comes down to whistleblowing, mental health, and talking about
Mm-hmm.
different religions. Well, I'm glad that we discussed all this, especially after you wanted to discuss something lighter.
Yeah. A lot of heavy topics today, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I think we live in
These
a
are very serious times.
we live in a
And
time
you
with
need a citizenry that has strong opinions on this. Whether yeah, you just have to have opinions on these kind of
absolutely.
things. These are good questions to ask.
Yeah,
Ask yourself as a citizen, like, what would you do, or how do you feel about your fellow citizen doing these things?
I think these are good conversations for us to have. This is a dialogue that people need to have
Hmm.
because we are increasingly living in a more and more complicated time,
But
and
I do regret the philosophical nature of some of my debates because it is all arguing in more philosophical terms than realism, which I usually tend to be more realistic.
yeah,
Um, Again, it takes a certain amount of courage to just come back willingly and serve jail. There's a reason why Snowden did not. I don't personally agree with it because I think he
that's
should have.
fine. That's
But
okay.
I definitely understand your point that at this point he has nothing to gain from doing it, and he would have had nothing to gain from the very beginning by surrendering himself.
Exactly. And like I think what and you were talking about personal security, and I'm like, of course he should care about his personal security. He could have lived the next 7 years with his raising a
Can
child.
we be fair here? If we wanted him dead, the U.S. government, we would still be able to
Yeah,
get to him.
Absolutely.
We'll send Jason Bourne.
So I mean, like, I mean,
They haven't located him to this date.
No, I think that's
do you know that?
As well,
So-
wouldn't they
so-
have
so-
grabbed him? Well, I mean, like, listen,
I am a the funny thing about
why haven't you guys grabbed him yet?
no, it's I mean, so I remember a couple years ago, like this is my last tangent, but like I think it was at Kingsborough, and this was 2011 or 2012, and I think it was like Free Coney.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait.
Yeah, so that was like one of the bigger, like the first incidents of like a social media awareness of something bad happening, aka a child soldier using African warlord, and people.
I mean, the African warlord using child soldiers.
Yes, African warlord named Coney,
Mm.
who is just. I don't think it was Free Coney was the hashtag then. It was like something like stop, like I don't know. You remember that movement, Coney?
Yeah, I remember the movement. I just don't know how it was.
Kony.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the first thing about like everybody around the world just kind of like saying like, "Hey, this is wrong. We shouldn't have this guy doing this, using child soldiers and being kind of like a bully and a warlord in his country."
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the majority of Americans were like, "Yeah, he's doing a bad thing."
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, we were still engaged, obviously, and we still are engaged in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I made the joke that this was also the same year that, although it would have been later in the year, that we finally assassinated Osama bin Laden. So
Okay.
I'm just saying, if the U.S. government puts their mind to something and the cause is worth it, there is nowhere on this earth that you can probably
fair
hide
enough.
from and
Absolutely.
escape. So we probably know where, and I would be
Well,
very
I'm
surprised
Sure. I'm sure.
that any individual can escape the eyes of the U.S. government.
I'm pretty
Right.
sure.
Whether we
Yeah,
choose
fair
to
enough.
publicly acknowledge that is another
Well,
story.
I think there was. I'm just guessing here that probably the level of importance went down when it came out that what he did not harm others. Plus, it was more and more apparent that the government was incorrect. I know he still committed that crime.
No.
So
My point here would be if
like they would find him. Yes, I would probably know where he is.
If you like you said earlier, your opinion before the news came out was like, hey, we got to get this guy. Right?
Yeah, that's when I
So
first
if,
found out.
If
Yeah.
if the government was as paranoid as you said and like eager to cover up their tracks,
Well, I mean, wait. As I say, I'm not sure paranoid's the right word, but they are.
if they
are.
took him more seriously, they would have grabbed him
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
extradited him themselves instead of letting him sit there in exile.
yeah. They would.
I
If
agree
we
with
if
you.
we thought he was if we thought he was as big of a risk as we thought
Agreed.
the government overclaimed the seriousness of his illegality.
Right.
What he did.
Yes.
In your own words, you think that he did it to concern about personal survivability, right?
Well,
But
no,
I'm
no,
saying
no.
if you're putting your
I was quoting you. You said that. Well, he should not. Something about he should not have cared about his personal security. And I'm like, that makes no sense. Of course, he should care about his personal security.
But fleeing the country does not put you out of the reach of the U.S. government. Was my I should have made that point.
Right.
Like if we actually thought like
If he was actually a supreme national security, we would have sent the A team.
we would have moved heaven and earth to recover him.
Sure,
If we
I'm
really
not
thought
sure-
that he
I'm
was
not-
whistleblowing on the level of like
I'm not sure if he thought that. I'm not sure if he's like, oh, again, he just
You're fighting the entire United States government. That is a hard ass. So I am not. I'm glad I am not in Michael Snowden's shoes.
Yeah, like the Avengers. They knew where the Hulk was. They kept some people,
That's a fair point.
suspicious people off his trails, but you know.
I'm sure that's the case, but again,
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
the case was that it doesn't matter if we can find him. I mean, yeah, we can find him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But he thought the best course of action was to run away.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah, so I mean,
But there's nowhere in this world that he could run to that we could not reach him.
really, because why did it take us so long to find Osama bin Laden then?
I mean,
Whoa,
I think
whoa.
It took us 12 years to find this guy.
I think it really specifies.
I'm just saying, it took us 12 years to find Osama bin Laden.
Wait.
So I sure we'll find him, but it'll take us some time.
Wait, you have to see who's actually in charge of the operation to take hold of the situation.
It wasn't 12 years. It was 10.
Okay, 10 years. He was the most wanted man on our list, and it took us 10 years.
Yeah, but
So I wouldn't just right off the back say that, oh, we know where Snowden is, or if we wanted to find him, we would. I don't know. I don't know if that's 100% true. There's plenty of people in the world that we want to find, and we haven't found them yet.
I said I should have caveated eventually. Okay, so
eventually. Okay,
Osama bin Laden was originally thought to be hiding in the caves of Afghanistan. He ended up being in Pakistan, very very close to the
Understood.
Pakistani military academy.
I'm just saying that
in a theoretical U.S. ally with, yeah,
you were saying that
he was
if
in the
we-
last place that we thought we would be.
no, that's not true. Many intelligence agency members thought that he was only in Pakistan. They did, and we didn't investigate there. We found, we were in Afghanistan.
We
looking for numbers.
believed a U.S. ally would not harbor or not would
It's
not
fucking
know.
Pakistan. How much of a U.S. ally they are outside of being on paper has been questionable for a long time.
yeah, but then later it's like we don't know the keynotes of what happened specifically. But I would say for this much, you being a project manager yourself, if
Don't give up details about me.
it's not that on your bio,
Maybe.
yeah, then there you go. If you have one person who is incompetent at their job,
Uh-huh.
it fucks up the whole entire operation.
Okay.
It's like the same shit with like hiring us contracting somebody to fix a fucking bridge and they can't even get it done in the time
Okay.
amount. The incompetence of a particular person, whether it's the leader of the United States or whatnot, it look at how the situation went with Trump hiring his own family in these positions.
Right.
They're not qualified for it,
Okay.
and shit that didn't
Incompetence
really
happened.
Yeah, incompetence happened. So
So you're agreeing that we may still not know where he is. Incompetence happens, so we might not know.
well,
I was
Where-
making a joke on that, by the way.
That's
The
fair
whole
enough.
thing was a joke.
Okay. No, but it's why. Sorry, you were saying. I want to finish that. But
Sorry.
you were saying. Go ahead.
right. Another Michael situation.
Oh God.
Look at Iron Man. I forgot which version of it. And then they had this person impersonating in video as a leader, but in general,
Mandarin, yeah.
he was a complete
Figurehead.
figurehead, and he wasn't the head of the operation of whoever it is.
Okay.
So what makes you think like it was Osama bin Laden who was actually in the operation, just because he's a figurehead? That's why you have a president.
That's fine. All I'll say, I mean, like, whether you were joking or not, you were very serious about the fact that if we wanted to find somebody, the U.S. would find somebody. I think you're very serious about that.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that eventually, sure, but you saying that the point came up because you said that we probably know where he is. Maybe, but I wouldn't say with a full certainty like, oh, the U.S. government can find somebody if they want.
I thought he was living with his girlfriend and his kid.
He
Are they
is.
really just constantly moving or something?
No, I think maybe, I don't know. I'm not aware. Why? Because we don't know where he is. That's why.
They don't expose him. He's not like something you could just Google and be like, I can find his address.
Yeah,
you could barely find the address of certain people.
He's been a top CIA and NSA contractor for a long time, and I mean, like, I guess those skill sets come in handy.
He's a data guy.
Yeah.
He has no field training. He's a guy
No,
behind a computer.
I don't think he's Jack Barrowing it and just moving from one place to another. I think as far as that computer surveillance go, I'm sure he's pretty good at hiding himself and covering his tracks as far as leaving a internet, credit card, whatever data track or phone track that you leave, the footprint that you leave. So I'm
Okay.
saying that I'm pretty sure he's pretty knowledgeable about that to stay away from.
I hope so.
Is that a threat?
I mean,
That was a dead ass just CIA threat. It's like, all right, buddy, we'll leave it at that because we'll let Snowden know. Buddy, this was a pleasure, man. Thanks for being here. This was awesome. Oh, we're gonna do another one. And listen, thank you for your service. You keep the country safe.
in my
And
own little way, yeah.
we appreciate all that you
I
do.
keep the lights on.
The lights is very crucial. You can't find shit without it.
Yep. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you, brother.
me.
Yeah, this is good. You feeling all right?
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. If you do ever whistleblow, and if you really want, if you change your mind about standing trial, I'll help you escape.
No, I probably just see. That's my personal opinion. I would just do it because I think it's the moral right thing to do, and then
Right.
just be like, I accept these consequences.
That was a joke.
No, but I'm serious about my own
I
stance on
understand.
this,
Of
and
course.
that's just what I feel weird about it. But I'm just like, I don't know. That's just how I was wired. Maybe it's too Asian for me.
No, I think no. That's an incredibly good moral code. Good.
Yeah, I wouldn't
version
try to
have.
run. I would just like
It's like-
whistleblow and then surrender myself and just be like, look, I'm rolling the dice. Like, treat me how you want.
That's
And then
great.
It comes,
That's
it
great.
comes to different portions. It's like, hey,
But I don't have physical courage, and I wouldn't like intervene in a fight if like something happened right in front
No,
of me.
that doesn't say like that. That's incredible.
Different
And,
different sets of courage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. I'm glad that you have that morality, and that's the kind of people that we want in our government.
yeah,
So thank you. All right.
thank you.
Have a good one, guys.